So, ladies and gentlemen, let's have a conversation for a moment about what it means to be a commentator, a critic, somebody who looks at culture, looks at media, and can give you an honest reflection about the work that you're about to embark on, whether that be a movie, whether it be a comic book, whether it be a video game. The people that you absolutely cannot trust are the people that, for political reasons, because they're afraid, because they're aligned in some sort of ideological fashion, refuse to take on their job and do the task that is expected of them, which is to review something. Madam Web is a stinking, steaming pile of garbage. Why is it a pile of garbage? It's too numerous even to list. You have bad writing, bad casting, you have a directionless movie that is designed to promote this type of ideological adherence to Hollywood norms, which is anything but normal. It is a bad movie that was made by a bad director, and you could go down the list. Wokeness plays a huge part in it because wokeness is like an infection. These people that are part of this woke mind virus cult, they believe in these certain things that they enact through praxis into the world. So it's not just that they believe in wokeness, they enact it. It's who they hire, it's how they write, it's how they market. Every bit of it is centered around this distorted, tainted worldview, and people genuinely don't like it. Now, this has nothing to do with women in movies. This has nothing to do with women writers. This has nothing to do with women directors. This isn't about women at all. Because we know, those of us who have lived for the past decade or longer, know that there are ways that you can make entertainment with female characters, female writers, and female directors exceptionally good. Jaw-droppingly good. And it's not just for guys either. The weakness of a Chris Stuckmann, it doesn't just affect him or his audience. It is all-encompassing. It gives a pass to these terrible, malignant, cancerous people. And at the end of the day, what I want, and what a lot of people want, is a return to the normalcy of the past. So you can create a character like Laura Croft, and she doesn't have to look like a boy. You don't have to shrink her tits or make her ashamed of her ass or make her anything other than what she is. Angelina Jolie played Laura Croft. So the body proportions that you're talking about are not as unrealistic as these losers would have you believe. But at the end of the day, what people want, both men and women, are attractive, competent, well done characters in a world that's interesting with morals and politics, but not our morals and politics, that world's morals and politics. They want something new, refreshing, innovative, interesting. And if you can't do that, then fine, make your own thing. Make your own thing that has nothing to do with geek culture or fan culture. You can make it an artsy film and do whatever you want. You can submit it to the Sundance Film Festival and you can go wild. And you can put in characters that say whatever you want. You can tear down the patriarchy. But stop trying to get jobs in Hollywood and messing with entertainment that millions of people love. There's nothing to say that this movie couldn't have been good other than the fact that it wasn't. So let's listen to Chris Stuckmann. Let's listen to this blithering idiot bumble his way through why he's not able to do his job.
To myself, probably not going to do a video for this one based off of what I've heard, since I do try to keep it mostly about film celebration on this channel. Having seen the film, I'm going to tell you that this is not a movie review of Madam Web. I am not about bashing filmmakers, artists. I know how hard it is to make a movie. I do not know how hard it is to make a movie under the studio system. I was able to make an indie film without a giant corporation breathing down my neck, which is not the privilege that S.J. Clarkson had when she directed Madame Web under Sony, which I can only imagine was monumentally difficult. This is not going to be a video about Madame Web and telling you whether or not you should.
So basically, obfuscating responsibility, saying that it wasn't her fault, it was the studio's fault, refusing to do a review, refusing to do his job because he's weak and he's woke and he's pathetic. And this is something that you all need to pay attention to. The people that are afraid to tell you the truth. This movie's bad. You don't have to take my word for it that the movie's bad. There are plenty of other reviews that tells you that the movie's bad. But for whatever reason, this guy thought he was going to be unique or interesting, or we don't allow negativity on my channel. Movies can be bad. Movies can be good. It is your job that you choose to do to review these, to give the audience an honest interpretation. You don't have to be needlessly mean. You don't have to be needlessly cruel. You shouldn't be needlessly positive either. You should give it to the audience as you feel it. Now, I feel that movie was a steaming pile of shit. Because there are several different layers, several different factors that make the movie unwatchable. Now, you have a difference of opinion. It would be interesting if you could articulate that in a way that wasn't caked under this just several layers deep film of just wokeness and garbage and failure and disappointment. At the end of the day, if you can't do your job, then what are you doing here? What are you doing being a movie reviewer who is too terrified to do movie reviews? Chris, I say this with all sincerity, you used to be interesting. You used to be pretty good. Not that good. You were never as good as Jeremy Jahns, but you were pretty good. But now, you've turned into a quivering, pathetic mass who can't even say that a movie is bad because you're afraid, because you want to appear to these people to be, virtuous, noble? You think that your audience is going to respect this decision? You think the internet's going to respect this decision? And hell, you could say, well, I don't care about what the internet says. Sure, I do it all the time. But I don't do it in relation to what I'm doing, or my job, or, my hobby, which is YouTube. I don't shirk my responsibility. If there's a topic I don't want to cover, but my audience wants me to cover it, I'm going to cover it. Because that's what we sign up to do. We're cultural commentators. That's what you are. Because media is downstream of culture. Media comes first. It influences culture. It's your job to say whether this is good or bad. You can't do that? Why even make a video at all? Why even admit to this? Because you wanted to virtue signal. That's why. If it were me, I never would have done a video like this. Because it's embarrassing. It's humiliating. Why would you debase yourself? Unless that's your thing. You like to be stepped on. You like to be humiliated. A lot of these male feminists do. So, don't feel like you're singled out. A lot of these male feminists, a lot of these woke men are very submissive, pathetic, sort of like, step on me, kind of like to get pegged, those type of people. Cucks, a lot of them. So you get my point. It doesn't look good when you choose to shirk your responsibility and make a video announcing it. You could have just not done a review, and if people ask, just say, I didn't want to do it. That's it. But to try to couch it in this language, like you're holier than thou, oh, I don't know how hard it is to make a movie. Well, apparently, it's pretty damn easy. Godzilla Minus One, which is arguably one of the best movies of the year, they were able to do it with a shoestring budget and make it look better than anything that these big studios are putting out. So, if they can do it with like 1/10 the budget, then apparently they're making it needlessly hard on themselves with all of this woke garbage. If they just threw that away, flushed it down the toilet where it belongs, they might be in a better position. So, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to do this talking about Chris Stuckmann because, I have no love for this guy, but when I watch somebody come out and just make this sniveling, embarrassing, just genuinely pathetic comment about, I'm not going to do a review. Now, this is completely different from, like, what's his name? The Angry Video Game Nerd. His name James Rolfe or something. When he came out and said, I'm not going to do a review of Ghostbusters, the all-female remake, I'm not going to do it, he had a very valid reason. His valid reason is, I'm not going to do any sort of review on this. We're not going to talk about it because from what I've seen, this seems like a very bad movie. His take was, this doesn't seem like it's for me at all. It seems like they betrayed what Ghostbusters is and made that very, very abundantly clear. That it wasn't for him and he wasn't going to give it a review because he knew he wasn't going to like it. That's what he said. I know I'm not going to like this, so I'm not going to go see it and subject myself to that. Perfectly valid. Hey, you know what? This movie is too awful. But for you to say, well, I saw the movie, but I'm not going to tell you what I think because I'm too afraid of the consequences, that is just genuinely sad. Because you're such a weak person that you can't muster up the courage or the testicular fortitude to at least be honest. Now, you could say you love the movie. You could say, you know what? I thought the director did a good job with what she had. I thought that a lot of the scenes in the movie were very well done. You could have gone on and on about all the different things that you liked. If that's what your thing was, if you were positive, you could have given it a review and put it in a positive light. And that would be totally legitimate and fine. I would disagree with it. So would most of the internet. But I think you want to have your cake and eat it too. I think you're too afraid of these woke lunatics to give a proper review, but you also don't want to lose your audience. So you're trying to walk this tightrope. It's never going to work. My advice is be true to yourself, whether I find that true self to be abhorrent or not. Be true to yourself. Deliver the content that you want to make. If you want to go full woke, if you want to go full retard, you do it. And do it proudly. Put your chest out there and say, I believe in this, and I believe in this, and I believe in this, and I think this. Put your whole chest into it. Whether I agree with it or not doesn't matter. You at least, at the bare minimum, will be true to yourself. But right now, you're just a quivering mass. A spineless jellyfish. Anyway. That's what I have to say about this, ladies and gentlemen. I wouldn't watch a Chris Stuckmann review, personally, at this point. I think he's lost all credibility here. Unless he does something drastic. He's just another irrelevant streamer who was popular, who did have pretty decent content, but has now fallen by the wayside. And it happens. And you appreciate the time that they were good, and then you move on. Angry Joe is the same thing. Angry Joe used to be really, really good. And then he went woke. And he got an ego. And his content fell off. And he's irrelevant. It happens. Doesn't mean that for years he wasn't making great game review content. Doesn't change that. It just means the times are changing and now he's completely irrelevant. Just like Chris Stuckmann is irrelevant. And I guess I'll end on something positive. Thank God for Jeremy Jahns. Holy shit. Anyway, that'll do it, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for watching. See you next time.